below 2,000, baby. Eden Palms, Monterey Road, I'm a project baby. Eagles Drive, we was at Oak Grove, barely graduated. We got Tasha, Molly, Bodie, Corbett, stay on at the haters.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the New Media Podcast. I'm your host, Ya. We hope you enjoyed the last episode because, as always, today's going to be an even better episode. I got the whole crew with me. Everybody's in the house today. Week 6 just got wrapped up, so of course, we're going to give our thoughts about that. But the NBA season is right around the corner, as I've said in previous episodes, but it's open. The moment you listen to this episode, it'll be opening night. So we're excited for the upcoming NBA season. Of course, we're going to give our Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals predictions, along with our NBA Finals predictions. And then, of course, we're going to say who we think is going to come away with the Larry O.B. So with that being said, of course, before we jump into our topics, temperature check. How's everybody doing?
What a nasty week of football, man. That's all I'm going to say. Upsets all around.
A nasty week for you, but the Mariners got kicked out of the playoffs right now in MLB. So for Seattle, I'm gonna take their little slogan: "See us rise, baby." Geno Smith, man, took us to a carry, got us a W against a divisional game. Very good W. Come on now.
Interesting week of football. Of course, my team won, but I'm very excited about the upcoming NBA season, man. I'm looking forward to another. Basketball's finally back. It was I feel like a long off season. What about you guys? Long off season?
Yeah, it took a long. I can't lie to you. That felt forever.
Yeah, it felt forever, man. But football held us down these last month and a half. So it's been quick. But Lakers tomorrow night, baby. Let's get it.
Golden State Warriors, the Lakers opening night, man. Don't get better than that. Ring night. But of course, let's get right into week 6. The very first game that kicked off week 6 for us. The Washington Commanders come out with the win. An ugly win against the Chicago Bears, 12-7. Carson Wentz, man, he stays undefeated on Thursday night.
I mean, we said coming into this game, this was going to be an ugly game, and it was exactly that. No surprises there. Justin Fields, I have criticized him, but I feel like this game, especially in the second half, there was times where he did flash potential. And of course, like coming into the season, we criticized the situation around him. We said the Bears aren't really surrounding him with talent, and this game really showed it. I just felt like there was a lot of times where he made plays and he was let down by his wide receivers' inability to hold down the ball. And of course, himself, he was not perfect. And there's times where he's not able to make reads and make the right passes. But I can see the upside with Justin Fields. But again, it's here and there. And Carson Wentz, we don't have to talk about him, man. What he threw for 99 yards, I want to say, no touchdown. Yeah, ugly win. But of course, the Commanders will take it. Carson Wentz, we got news about his injury, so it's Taylor Heineke season. Maybe Terry McLaurin can finally come back, and we can see what he's been working with, because he's just been disappeared. Like, he hasn't been in the mold for a while now. So Heineke's gonna get him the ball. It's a good win for the Commanders. Not a good win in the sense of it looked good, but it was a good one that they needed it. So.
I don't know what to say about Justin Fields, man. Watching that game on Thursday night, due to the fact that I have Brian Robinson playing, I feel like that guy was like, he feels flustered in the pocket every single time, doesn't read his first progression. He's always trying to escape out the pocket without finishing his progression. So I feel like a lot of the problem does go on him and somewhat on the skill players that he has around him, plus the old line. But I don't know. I don't see the upside that you're seeing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do not see the upside you're seeing. I feel like
Bro, you see that play when he ran down the field? My guy picked up like 30-some yards.
Talk about one play out of the whole game.
That's a big
drive.
The drive, he picked up yardage. He made a quick pass, then he got up 30 yards. And then, I mean, the pass to Darnell Mooney, I'm going to say it's a 50-50 play, because it's like he should have thrown a better ball. Like, you need to throw it towards the pylon. Like, you need to give Darnell, you got to give Darnell Mooney a chance. But at the same time, Darnell Mooney should have been able to hold on the first time. So, I mean, it's a tough play, though.
As a receiver, your receiver one, you got to hold on to that ball. We talked about that last week with Devontae Adams. Same goes for Darnell Mooney.
I mean, that throw, like, the touchdown throw is just ridiculous, man. That's an Aaron Rodgers throw right there. That touchdown throw was crazy.
Come on, now.
Like, we got to give. Yeah, we know Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, we know Aaron Rodgers type money.
Wait. What throw are we calling it? Aaron Rodgers throw?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what throw are we calling?
You talking about the last play?
No, am I tweaking, or this guy not have like?
Oh, Dante Pettis. Yes, the touchdown. Yes. That was actually that. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That was just ridiculous. See, that's the upside that I'm talking about. But it just felt like he shows it here and he shows it there, but it's like a whole, like it's multifaceted. Like it's from top to bottom. The offensive line is not that good. Of course, he himself like takes a while, so it's tough, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears, man, they let one slip away. Justin Fields, early red zone interception, and then he missed I think his full back in the end zone again. He just overthrew it. They just let this one slip away. It should have been an easy win. They should have walked out with the dub in this one, being at home. Carson Wentz not playing well. The defense did a hell of a job containing him and all their weapons. But I just don't know how this guy Carson Wentz got a win. Only throwing 99 passing yards. So this one's just pretty much an ugly game all around.
I didn't get to mention the Washington Commanders yet. Give me a second, man. I'm not happy the guy got hurt. I don't want to, put injuries on anybody, but it was his time to go. Like, it was the time to get to the bench. He got away with 99 yards and a W. Like, come on now. And then people are gonna go on Twitter and the internet and see, oh, Carson Wentz, he proved Ron Rivera wrong, blah blah blah, this and that. He didn't do anything this game. Really did not do anything this game. So, yeah, Taylor Heineke. Hopefully, Scary Terry gets involved, but okay, W for the Commanders. So what are they? 2-4?
Yeah, sitting at 2-4 right now. The Bears are also 2-4. I'm looking at their schedule right now. I mean, we said that we said they're not going to get a lot of wins this year, so I can't really see anywhere else where they're going to get a win, like an opportunity like this to get a win. So,
that's
good win for the Commanders. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. An upset here in Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons upset the San Francisco 49ers 28-14. I don't know, man. Jimmy G, two quick touchdowns to Brandon Ayuk, and after that, it was
Jimmy G's hilarious, man. 2 quick touchdowns. After that, nada, nothing. Of course, we can't fault the Niners defense. We know their situation right now. They're just banged up. It feels like they pick up an injury every single week. But Jimmy G, man, this guy, when he gives you the ups, it feels great. But when the downs, it's tough. You never know what you're gonna get with Jimmy G, and it just makes me laugh when I watch him because I seen him literally do nothing for 3 quarters against us in a playoff game. The 4th quarter, he just randomly decides to turn up. So that's the type of guy that Jimmy G is. You never know what you're gonna expect, but of course, you get 2 touchdowns quick like that, and then you don't throw another touchdown. That's tough. So the Niners, again, injuries are starting to pile up on them, and they need to get healthy ASAP, man.
I feel like we all picked the Niners this week.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna really go off the run, get the run game involved, smash the ball down Atlanta's throats, but they did not get the run game involved at all. I'm pretty sure Jeff Wilson had a fumble, 10 yards only. Who's their backup? Tevin Coleman didn't do much. And then, Atlanta figured that out. They're like, yo, these guys are not really running the ball. They're just going to sit in the zone, force Jimmy G to throw the ball. And that was about it. Yeah. The Niners defense. They're missing 8 to 9 key players. They're missing 3 key offensive linemen as well. They lost, I think, McGlinchey yesterday in the 3rd quarter, the 2nd quarter. That was another key offensive lineman they're missing, but injury starting to pile up for them, and it's not looking too good.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to write this one off for the Niners. I mean, of course, they were supposed to win this game pretty comfortably against the Falcons, but just them losing every key player on defense and a lot of their offensive line. There's not much I could really say. I got to tip my hat to the Falcons for playing a hell of a game. Marcus Mariota not turning over the ball. The run game was pretty successful in terms of, 3 guys went over 50 rushing yards. The passing game was just mid. Zacchaeus led the way with 4 catches, 58 yards. So the Niners, they just got to get healthy, man, because we know how good of a team they can be, especially their defense. So good win for the Falcons. We'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Patriots go into Cleveland and win 38-15 in a dominating fashion, I gotta say.
Yo, Netflix Mac Jones. Zappy is cooking. What is that? Yo, Mac Jones, man. Say bye-bye to your job because Zappy's here, man. What a dominant game from him. It wasn't just like a cool little game management game. He actually dominated the Browns. And I did have the Patriots winning this game. It was closer than I expected, but still, Bill Belichick, I mean, he's churning out wins. It's a bit scary. I expected them to really, really struggle, and it feels like they're able to pick off wins here and there, and they're able to stay close in games. And of course, that's because of his defensive prowess. But at the same time, this rookie's he's showing he has potential, man. For him to go in and just dominate like that, it's a good win for the Patriots.
Great win for the Patriots, man. Netflix Mac Jones, that's my guy. That's my guy, man. I think the last 2 weeks he's 597 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception.
3 touchdowns, 1
3
interception.
touchdowns, 1 interception. Hey, he's been playing fantastic. This past week, he threw for 2 touchdowns, 300 yards against a very good Browns defense. So, hey, man, we know Bill Belichick, bro. He really don't need star players on his team to win games. That guy, hey, he knows what's on the defensive side of the ball. He finds gems. He picked up another gem at cornerback in Jonathan Jones. And offense, rely on the.
Or is it Jack Jones? I keep forgetting their name.
Jack Jones or Jonathan Jones?
Yeah, I think it's Jack Jones.
Jack Jones. It's one of the two, bro. They both look alike, though. All right,
But they all have the same Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones, JC Jackson.
It's all the same.
It's all J's.
It's crazy. This guy, hey, Bill Belichick knows what he's doing, man. He's crazy mind up there. But offensively, man, trusting the run game, trusting Zappy, Devontae Parker, and I forgot the other guy.
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers, that's my guy right there. They've been turning up for the Netflix, turning up for Netflix Mac Jones. But great win for Bill Belichick. 3-3, if I'm not correct.
3-3.
3-3. They're trading out some wins, but they're in a tough division right now. The Jets at 4-2, and the Bills sitting at 5-1.
The Browns sitting at 2-4. Oh wait, the Bills. You're correct. Never mind.
The Bills are 5-1.
Bills at 5-1.
Browns could have easily been like.
And we're forgetting the Dolphins. Dolphins at what? 3-3 too.
3-3 right now.
And they're getting 2 coming back. So very, very tough division, but they got to fight. So we'll see.
I got to give credit to Abdi here. He did call Bill Belichick, making sure Nick Chubb doesn't go off. So Nick Chubb finished with 12 touches for 56 yards. Bill Belichick, he made it a point to stop the run and force Jacoby Brissett to make a lot of plays. And Jacoby Brissett just had a terrible game, 266 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. And I think he threw that first interception very, very early in the game. So I got to give credit to him in this defense that he's got. And Bailey Zappi, a couple weeks ago, we were laughing at him. We didn't know who he was when he came in versus Green Bay, and all of a sudden he's looking like their starter until Mac Jones gets back. Or maybe even if Mac Jones is healthy, he might just go with him at quarterback. So I got to give it to them. Good win for the Patriots, sitting at 3-3 in a very, very tight division right now. So hats off to them. Browns, they got to do better. I thought they would be a lot better with Deshaun Watson coming back in maybe 5-6 weeks and being in a good position, maybe a wild card spot. But it sounds like it.
Those guys are losing a lot of winnable games. It's looking bad. So.
And they got some tough games coming up too next week against Baltimore, Cincy, Miami, Buffalo, Tampa. Yeah, it's not looking too good for them, man. I'll say that.
Especially with the first 6 weeks, how easy it was for them. Whew.
Man. But we'll go ahead and get to a game I really want to talk about. The New York Jets go into Green Bay and upset Aaron Rodgers 27-10. Hey man, I know I picked the Packers to win this game, but I did say it was gonna be close. And if you're gonna bet on this game, take the Jets plus 7.5, man.
The Packers right now, their issue, I want to say, we can easily just go ahead and say, well, it's because they're missing a wide receiver. But the issues with the Packers right now are way bigger than just missing a guy like Devontae Adams. And coming into this season, I mentioned how this offense would be a lot more balanced, probably at its best balanced state. And I raved about the defense. And at every single level, the Packers just don't do anything correctly at every single level. The quarterback play right now for Aaron Rodgers is just not good. Like, we're being honest, like the deep shots that he's taking. And again, this offense is just, why isn't Aaron Jones getting the ball? Why isn't AJ Dillon getting the ball? Like, our 2 running backs are our best playmakers, right? And they're not touching the ball. Aaron Jones doesn't see the ball at all. 4 carries at the half. Like, that's our running back right there, getting 4 carries, our best playmaker, right? Aaron Rodgers at the same time. Why are you throwing deep shots to Romeo Doubs against Sauce Gardner, right? Defenses will take this every single time. Like, they'll live with that. Like, they don't care. Like, they're fine with you taking a deep shot against Sauce Gardner. They love that, right? We don't pass the ball in the middle, right? No motion offense is static. And to me, it just resembles like that Mike McCarthy era towards the end. So right now, and then on the flip side, the defense, man, like Joe Barry, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Our run defense, right? Look at Dalvin Cook week 1, what he did to us, right? David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall. Every single one of those guys gashed us on defense, right? And Zach Wilson threw for only 100 yards. So in pass coverage, yeah, we did all right. But of course, Zach Wilson is never going to punish a team like that. And for us to just there's no positive in this game besides Jair Alexander. Nobody else had a good game besides Jair Alexander and David Bakhtiari. So right now, the Packers' issues, easy to say, oh, they don't have a wide receiver, but of course, the coaching is not good right now. The quarterback play is not good right now. The defense is not good right now, and that's because of the defensive coordinator. So right now, as a Packers fan, of course, there's a lot of football left to play, but we're sitting at 3-3, and it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good.
A nasty 3-3. It has not looked good since the first game of the season. Not even the first game of the season.
We honestly have not looked good. We honestly have not looked good.
Last year since Devontae left. I ain't gonna lie to you. Matt LaFleur, I gotta talk about that guy. I do not know what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball, but not giving the ball to Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon at all. It just makes no sense. Like, you lose a top 3 receiver and you have these 2 running backs that you said you're gonna get involved in the offseason, but to come in the season and not use them at all makes zero sense. And he's trusting rookie receivers, Dubs, Watson, and then trusting guys like 38-year-old Randall Cobb. Like, hey, come on now. It's not going to work like that. So offensive side of the ball is just nasty. And then the defensive side of the ball, you guys are just getting ran over every single game. Just the same thing. Like you said, Saquon, Damien Harris 1 week, Rahamjay Stevenson 1 week. It's abuse after abuse. So bad luck for the Packers. I don't know what's going on down there, but it doesn't look too good for them.
Even in games when Devontae was out, right? Mm-hmm. Previous years we looked good, regardless of Devontae. Like the Saints game when Devontae was out 2020, Aaron Rodgers threw for 4 touchdowns. He dominated that game. It's not like I could easily say, well, of course Devontae's gone and we're gonna struggle. That's not. Quarterbacks simply just don't struggle. Like, if you take away Stephon Diggs from Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen's still going to produce, right? Take away Travis Kelce from Patrick Mahomes. He's still going to produce, right? Aaron Rodgers is not a product of Devontae Adams. Like, they're both great in of themselves, right? They had a great connection, but if you take away one, look how Devontae Adams is producing in Las Vegas right now. He's playing great, right? Yeah, he's still doing his. Aaron Rodgers has done that without Devontae Adams. So the issue for us is not just wide receivers, it's the entire offense. And to me, honestly, as hot of a take as this is going to sound, I think the issue isn't as big as Matt LaFleur as it is Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers has this issue where he does not trust his head coach. That's my issue. It's like
bringing back the trust issues for Rodgers.
I think this is where it comes in with the head coach, because
when I said this 5 years ago when they were playing, he was with McCarthy. It's the same thing.
It's like. Because if you saw what Aaron Rodgers said, he said, we need to simplify the offense, right? And Matt LaFleur was confused about that because it's like Matt LaFleur wants to run his offense, right? And when we did that 2020, we looked amazing. We were this close. We were this close to getting to the Super Bowl because of Matt LaFleur's play calling. But now Aaron Rodgers wants to do his hero ball, throw a deep shot to you-know-who, Allen Lazard, against – like this team just pisses me off, man.
Hey, it's not gonna work. But the run defense, man. Come on, man. Week in, week out, like you're some grown men, put some fight into it. You're getting bullied every time you're coming down the trenches. Like, it's the trenches, and they're getting bullied every single time down there.
The whole team looks sorry. Like none of these guys want to play, bro.
Yeah,
this team's sorry.
Man. And on the other side, man, shout out to the Jets, man. Breece Hall, my guy, Sauce Gardner. You know what I'm saying? Defensive Rookie of the Year, hopefully. But hey. 4-2. Robert Saleh got his boys going, and they got their quarterback back. So big ups for them. Bright future they got right now. So we'll see what happens, man. Aaron Rodgers, man, give me a call, man, if you need some therapy lessons. Man, I got you.
Man, I gotta say, I've been waiting to speak on this game since yesterday. If I wasn't a Vikings fan, I'd actually feel bad for the Green Bay Packers. I'd actually feel bad for Aaron Rodgers and what they're going through. That's just not the case here. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, so I love every second of it. The downfall of Aaron Rodgers, the downfall of this Green Bay Packers organization. I love every second of it. Everything they built in these recent years is now is coming down and is crashing on them. Aaron Rodgers, man, like, this is a game where you're supposed to coming off a loss in London. You're at home. You get to pick this game. I actually just learned from Sauce Gardner that when you play a team in London, the NFL gives you the option whether or not you want to go on a bye week after that, or you could just pick whoever team you want to play based on the schedule that comes out before the season starts. And he picked and the Green Bay Packers picked this game against the Jets, and he said they thought it was going to be an easy one. But the Jets, man, I got to give a shout out to Breece Hall. I did say that he was going to go have a decent game for himself. 20 carries, 116 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Couple weeks ago when I said this team was down there with being one of the worst 3-1 teams with the Giants, it sounded a bit crazy, looking like a genius now. Back-to-back losses against two teams. The Giants sitting at 5-1, so I gotta respect them. And I for Giants fans, I'm gonna apologize. I should have said the Packers are the worst 3-1 team instead of them, because right now that's what it's looking like. But you at home playing the Jets and you put on this performance, I try to warn you, Abdi, and everybody in Green Bay that this is gonna happen with Aaron Rodgers not being able to trust his wide receivers and Matt LaFleur, like Big H said. LaFleur is not his last name anymore. It's Matt LaFraud. That's what his name. That's what his name is. Last name is Matt LaFraud. When you have to seriously coach a team that's not crazy talented anymore on the offensive side, this is what he really is. Like when you go 13-3 for like how many years? Like 3 years in a row. That's Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams playing catch in their backyard. You don't necessarily have to call plays. You just got to sit back and just, let them do their thing. And of course, they're going to do their thing and get wins for you. But as we see it in the playoffs year in, year out, when you actually have to coach and, make the right calls, that's why they don't go far. And I'm not saying it's all on him, but he definitely plays a big part in it. But now it's showing. You're sitting here at 3-3 and you're down there. You're second in a division that's not really competitive like that, but in the NFC that's supposed to be wide open this year. Sitting at 3-3 is pretty embarrassing. But like I said, I love every second of it. Aaron Rodgers, you have to be better. He could have had a more terrible day if that ball doesn't get knocked down. That the one he threw to Robert Tonyan, where Sauce on the first play took it to the crib, pick 6. So I think the Packers got away. Rodgers got away with that one, but good win for the Jets, man. The Packers, it's time to hit the panic button on them. I probably said you should have hit the panic button on them a few weeks ago, but overall good win for the Jets, man. They're no slouch. Robert Saleh, he got those guys riled up. I know I said they're like a team that's a little less talented than the Lions. They're gonna come in every week and try to get you a win, and you're gonna fight to the very end. That's exactly what they did. So good win for them. Next, we'll talk about my Minnesota Vikings. But before we talk about this game, I do want to apologize to our audience for not giving our analysis and our thoughts on this game and our predictions. Of course, we all had the Vikings winning this one. I'll go ahead and say that. But the Minnesota Vikings go into Miami and beat the Dolphins 24-16.
I don't know. That first quarter was just like nobody could score. I think first quarter and third quarter, everybody was scoreless. I want to say the majority of the points came in the second and the fourth. Correct. Yeah, see, that's so odd to me. But I mean, the wide receivers for the Dolphins went off. Like Tyreek Hill, 177 yards, and Jalen Waddle, I think he broke 100 as well. I mean, they both had great games, but at the same time, you have a wide receiver on the other end that can do the same thing, and Justin Jefferson, right? And for the Vikings, of course, I'm not going to praise them much, especially after what he just said right now about my Packers. I'm not going to praise them much. I'm going to give them credit. They did what they're supposed to do. Of course, Tua being out helps them, but it's a good one for the Vikings. I'm not going to comment much about them, but my guy, Justin Jefferson, he went off again, and I have him in fantasy, though, so that's the only praise I'm going to give the Vikings.
That's all, man. I don't know, man. It looked like another week, the Vikings game. That defense just again. It looked like it could have been a 35-7 win. It could have been a blowout, but the defense just keeps the teams in games for them, man. And sometimes you can't rely on Kirk Cousins to win you a game every single time. It doesn't happen like that every game. But today, I can say okay win for them. But if Tua was playing, I feel like it could have been a different story. Could have been a big different story. I don't know. Starting Skylar Thompson and then having Teddy B come in, it could have been different. Could have been very different, but Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson again, they got Cook involved. Big touchdown to end the game, you know what I'm saying? Helped the fantasy a little bit, but JJ continues this role. People are hating on him, saying that, hey, his first game was just a fluke, but he continues on this path. I think he's, 1 or 2 behind Tyreek Hill in receiving yards?
I think he's a little bit behind Tyreek now.
A little bit behind Tyreek, but
I want to say Diggs is up there as well.
Yeah, Diggs is up there as well. I feel like I seen a stat on Twitter that it said Tyreek is on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single record.
Tyreek's been going off like
Tyreek's
crazy.
been going off. I feel like he is on pace, but JJ's right behind him. Who knows? JJ 2K can happen. I want to see this Vikings defense step up and get more stops, man. Stop letting teams back into games.
I want to comment on that actually. One, I don't think we were watching the same game, and two, I think you're just getting back at me for every episode I bash the Seahawks. I think that's what you're doing right now.
Last couple
Because-
weeks, you know what I'm saying? I've been going at the Vikings, man. Like, the
I mean,
wins,
you keep
it's
questioning.
7-point wins,
Yeah,
6-point wins.
You keep questioning my defense. Let me throw some numbers at you. We had 6 sacks yesterday, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble.
All of them
There's
Skylar Thompson, right?
no we sacked Teddy Bridgewater 5 times, Skylar Thompson once,
The 2
Bridgewater
interceptions
threw
on,
2
on
picks,
Teddy
and then
Bridgewater.
Jalen Waddle's fumble.
Then one fumble.
So I'm calling that a pretty great day for our defense. I'll go ahead and say that. This game was won by our defense. I can confidently
I
say
mean, are you
that.
happy about giving up those yardage to those wide receivers though?
I mean, I did say in the beginning of the year that we're gonna make our money with our front seven, and that's exactly what kind of showcased yesterday. Our secondary is not at its greatest. We did have some flashing moments against the Dolphins, of course. With 2 interceptions, but I think one of the interceptions came at the end of the game where Teddy B's trying to go ahead and make a play.
You just launched it.
The first pick was very impressive. I got to say, Harrison Smith, tip pass, and before it hit the ground, he scooped it up.
Who's the other player? Who's the other player that had his gloves underneath as well? There's 2 guys there. It was Harrison Smith and somebody else.
Probably was Eric Kendricks, I believe. I want to say it was
There's
him.
2 guys there. That pick was crazy though.
So that impressive interception there, and then the forced fumble. Of course, when the Miami Dolphins are marching down and trying to get some points, Harrison Smith once again showed up. As a true veteran safety for us. Our offense, it wasn't the flashiest. We weren't better than the Dolphins offensively, but I gotta say, I've been trying to preach for us to be better in the red zone. That's exactly what we did yesterday. We were a lot better in the red zone. Once we got our opportunities, we got our touchdowns. Irv Smith touchdown, Adam Thielen touchdown. And of course, Dalvin Cook, breaking up for that 59-yard rushing touchdown. He did say, somebody pull up my stats when I'm in Miami and I play Florida teams, and he always goes off. But he didn't have the craziest game, but that touchdown did seal the game for us. But once again, I got to give credit to our defense because, of course, they stepped up big. And I'm not sure what Tua could have done to change this game, to be honest, because when you have their 2 best playmakers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
I don't know. I feel like Tua just controls the game way more than these 2 quarterbacks. I feel like he just controls the game way more.
I mean, both receivers, you could ask for a better day from both.
Both those receivers make their own moves after. Man, I mean, come on now.
177 yards from Tyreek Hill and 120 plus from Jalen Waddle. You can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, we gotta check the yards after catch just to make sure it wasn't no 3-yard little curl.
I mean, that's just who they are, though. You throw them a 5-yard, they're gonna make it 12.
Yeah, of course they're 2 yak guys, and of course Tyreek is gonna beat you over the top. Waddle's capable of doing that. But
the decision making between the two, Tua, between Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know. I feel like it's big difference.
I guess we'll never know, right? Because Tua wasn't out there. But overall, good win for my Minnesota Vikings
for another couple years.
Yeah, but good win for my Minnesota Vikings. Once again, we're finding new ways to win each and every week. I know this game was a little bit, a little close. I just don't know what's wrong with this team and then why they want to give me a little heart attack every game. Like every week, it's the same thing. Like we have like a significant lead, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a comfortable win. I'm going to come on here and talk highly about my team. But once again, the teams just chip away, and they get points here and there. And it always starts with our kicker. I have to talk about this before we move on to the next game. Our special teams, we need to release this kicker. I think his name is Greg Joseph. He needs to go. Every week it's either he misses a PAT or he misses an easy chipper for a field goal, like to extend and give us a better significant lead. Like I don't know what it is with this guy, but or any kicker that puts on a Minnesota Vikings uniform, we've been cursed for legit the last 10 years.
10 years, man. 10 years.
I just don't understand him, man. Like when we need points, like I think that game was a 6-point game at one point, and it was because of his missed PAT. But once again, man, I shout out to Kevin O'Connell for getting our guys riled up for this win. A lot of guys were very happy about this one, sitting at 5-1, one of the best teams in the league right now, outside of the Bills and the Giants and what other team is there? The Eagles, I think. Yeah, the Eagles. 5-1 going into a bye week. I can't ask for anything better, man. So good win for my Minnesota Vikings. We'll go ahead and move on to the next game. Well, which pretty much was a nail biter, but the Colts beat the Jaguars at home 34-27. Alec Pierce game-winning touchdown. Matt Ryan finally stepped up.
Yo, Matt Ryan turned back the clock. What a game from 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, the Jaguars, like, what's going on, man? We had them being better than this, and of course, Matt Ryan, like nobody was expecting this performance from him. And Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't say he had a bad game. I think he had a pretty decent game. Like he was efficient. It wasn't really like he was taking the top off from the defense, but at the same time, he did rush for 2 touchdowns, and he was pretty efficient, but at the same time, wasn't really like big throws or anything. And of course, I thought the Jaguars defense would have been much better this week. Of course, coming into this week, we thought Matt Ryan was just going to be who Matt Ryan was this season, and he was excellent. Just picked them apart, and of course, the touchdown from Alec Pierce, and I mentioned it. Their connection every single week continues to grow, so that's something to monitor. And I mean, the Colts, they needed this badly, man. After what the Jaguars did to them early this season, this was a big win for them.
Very big win for the Colts, man. Very big win. That's their third one this season?
I believe so.
They beat the Chiefs.
Three sitting at 3-2-1.
Man, that offense, Matt Ryan was hot from the start of the game. Like from the jump, he was already throwing the rock. He got Pittman involved. And this new running back they found since Jonathan Taylor been hurt the last 2 weeks, Deion Jackson, man, that guy been phenomenal in the pass game. He's been phenomenal in the run game. Like, it's crazy. He's like a baby Eckler, you know. It fits the system. He's open 24/7. He gets open. He gets yards after catch. So he's been very big for that offense. And Jonathan Taylor been out this week. But Pierce, Pittman, Matt Ryan going crazy since the start of the game. Very, very good look this week for them. They needed this one and they got it. But the Jaguars, to me, I don't know, man. Offense still. We look at Trevor Lawrence getting to the 2-yard line, 1-yard line, and then scoring those 2 rushing touchdowns. Other than that, I feel like they've really been lethargic on the offensive side of the ball. They really haven't been targeting Christian Kirk like that. Zay Jones has been their leading target. James Robinson hasn't been involved in the run game the last 3 weeks. I feel like he had like 17 carries for like 56 yards. Etienne had like 12 carries for 86, but he had a big gain of like 47 or 48 on one of those carries. So the run game hasn't looked too well. It's just very, very lethargic offense. We really believe that they would have been better than this, but nah. And for the defense, for the Jags defense to shut out the Colts week 1 or week 2, week 2 was week 2, to come back, let them drop 34 on their head this week, it's just bad luck on them. So they got to go back to the drawing board. It might be panic button time, but they're still a young team, so we'll see.
Yeah, very good one for the Colts, but I want to speak about this Jaguars team. We wrote off that loss to the Eagles due to the weather, but then last week I came back and said we got to pump the brakes on Trevor Lawrence and this team. This one was supposed to be, a game where they were supposed to come in and win. They're familiar with this team. They just shut him out, and they don't have Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor got ruled out on Saturday before the game. So for Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't say he had I wouldn't even call it a good game, to be honest. You're just throwing 165 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Those 2 rushing touchdowns could have went to Etienne or James Robinson. Anybody could have punched it in. So it's not really like anything impressive. It's not like he scrambled for 25 yards and got the touchdown. It was just 1-yard rushing touchdown. So this team, I just, they're just a very young team. They'll figure it out, but I just don't see them contending in that division. In a division we all thought it would be wide open a couple of weeks ago. It's not wide open anymore. And, teams like the Colts are getting wins, and the Titans are still there coming off their bye week. And what's the last team in that division? Texans? Never mind. So it's just those 2 teams. But good one for the Colts. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. That connection between Matt Ryan and Alec Pierce, it keeps growing each and every week. To trust the rookie in a situation like that to get you a game-winning touchdown, that just shows how special that connection is getting each and every week. So good win for the Colts. Matt Ryan getting his guys involved, his playmakers, even with being down Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman going off 13 catches, 134 yards. Deion Jackson stepping up into that running back 1 role while Jonathan Taylor's out. Hell of a game by him. He was on my fantasy team. I picked him up very last minute, so he helped me get a win this week. I got to shout out him. But overall, good one for the Colts, man. They're turning their season around at the right time in division that's wide open once again. But we'll go ahead and move on to another interesting game. The 5-1 Giants. Crazy that we're calling them a 5-1 team at this point in the year, but the Giants upset. We would call it an upset. I'll just say it's a win. The Giants beat the Baltimore Ravens 24-20. Lamar Jackson, man, yesterday's price, it might be today's price.
Well, of course, we can sit here and say, we can praise the Giants. Of course, we have to start off with that. And I'm pretty sure nobody at this point would have thought that the Giants would have been 5-1. Of course, they started off 3-0, and we still thought that was fake, and they continue to get wins. And the team has found his identity. With Daniel Jones, I'm not going to sit here and say he's been phenomenal or anything, but he has done as expected. He's protected the ball much better. He's been fairly efficient, especially with the situation they have at wide receiver. They have just a bunch of Foot Locker guys running routes, so it's been tough in terms of pass catching. But he has protected the ball, and of course Saquon's been Saquon, and to have him back healthy is exactly what they needed. And defensively, they found their identity. Like you guys saw that strip sack against Lamar, and the previous play they got an interception on him, and Lamar has not been good, plain and simple, not been good at whatsoever. But at the same time, like I'm not going to sit here and say he has good wide receivers. It's of course we can go ahead and bring up, oh well, the first 3 weeks he was playing at MVP level, but again, that's only sustainable for so long. The lack of production from the wide receiver position, like they're thinking about signing Deshaun Jackson. That's crazy. Like they were thinking about, they might even end up signing him. That's how bad the wide receiver situation is for the Ravens. Of course, Lamar Jackson has not been good, but again, it's just a lack of an actual threat. And I feel like this has been shown a lot because Bateman has gotten injured. Ever since Bateman got injured, Lamar's production has kind of taken like a nosedive. So, of course, he needs to get back out there, and Lamar needs to turn it around, man. That division, it's really just them and the Bengals, and to compete with them, you need to be able to produce on an MVP level. So Lamar just needs to be better.
And let me speak about the Giants first, and I'll go on to Lamar. But Giants sitting at 5-1 right now. Hey, we did not think this had out. In our preseason predictions, everybody said what? 3 wins, 4 wins? It was not much for the Giants, man. But hey, they passed our predictions. 5-1. Dabo got the team rolling. Daniel Jones hasn't turned the ball over. He pretty much a great game managing quarterback. He doesn't have the receivers to let loose right now since he's playing with some Walmart receivers. But Saquon been there, and that defense been carrying. That defense been playing fantastic on the other side of the ball. So to speak on Lamar, man, 288 yards total, 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers. I don't know. I mean, other than Andrews on that offensive side of the ball, he hasn't gotten any other receivers involved. They really do need another receiver. Bateman's injured, but at the same time, it's like, come on, you got to get some guys involved on the other side of the ball. So the run game wasn't that well. Besides Lamar, it's looking rough out there in Baltimore, man. They ain't an easy division other than the Bengals. And if they keep losing games like this, very close games, it's been 4 weeks in a row where they're leading 20-3, 20-10, 20-7. They're up at halftime. They're up heading into the fourth quarter. And it's like, okay, once you get to the fourth quarter, are we going to still be using that same receiver excuse? Like you're up 20-3 and then big lead blown. Nobody scores on offense. We come back here and it's like, hey, he doesn't have the receivers to be successful. And it's like, come on now. Last 4 weeks, they've been up. Ever since that Dolphins week, they've been up tremendously in a lot of games. And to lose like this is not good. So they got to go back to the board. They got to figure something out. I hope Lamar comes out, man, starts playing like he was the first couple of weeks, but we haven't seen that yet. So
the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. This is now the third game where they've blown a lead and they've lost. The first one, of course, being against the Miami Dolphins. We didn't put that on Lamar Jackson. We said it was the defense's fault. Against Buffalo, I did say it was Lamar's fault. Your defense did all they could against a guy like Josh Allen, and you're up 20-3 at halftime. You got to do your job and put up more points. But it's the Bills, so we kind of push that to the side. It's Josh Allen. He's going to do his thing. But this one is unacceptable. You're up 20-10 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Giants scored 2 touchdowns to win the game. Lamar Jackson, of course, that strip fumble from Kayvon Thibodeau, I believe. Hell of a play by him. But you have to be better. This wide receiver excuse, losing Bateman, all this stuff. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to hear all that. You got to be better, plain and simple. You have Mark Andrews. You and him have a very good connection. You can make it work. Go make it work. I don't know if you're watching the same game again, Big H, but their run game was pretty good. Kenyon Drake, 10 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. I don't think you could ask for any more out of him. Especially
a 75-yard carry to the house. Other than that, you take it off.
I mean,
come on, one big play. It's like a one big play. That's why I'm
one big play that ended up in a touchdown, though, right?
But he has a good point though. It's like consistent. Like outside of a big play, you need like the run game. At any point, has the run game been good this season? At any point, has the run game been good?
Not necessarily. It's been on Lamar to make plays on his legs.
That's what I'm saying. Like Lamar was the only one consistent.
It just feels like you can say like, yeah, it feels like a cop-out excuse, but at the same time, like I'm pretty sure Andrew still had a good game, if I'm correct.
106 yards on 7 catches and a touchdown.
It just feels like this offense is predicated around just feed Andrews, and that's it, because they have no running game. There's no consistent running game whatsoever. Of course, Lamar, we're not gonna sit here and say he's been good. No, he hasn't. But at the same time, it's like both things can be true. Lamar can have a bad game, and they have a lack of talent at the wide receiver position. And to me, both those statements are correct. Like outside of Andrews, there's no one in this offense that can simply make a play. Like that Duvernay stuff was just that's not sustainable. Like Duvernay was not gonna continue to produce. Impossible. So that's just my perspective on it.
Hey,
Let me
I mean,
go
like,
ahead and
hold on. Hold on.
add to this.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, hey, yo, if it works for 3 quarters, right, you get to the fourth and it just stops. I mean, like, come on now. Like, at this point, it's like, yo, it works for 3 quarters. What happens when it gets to the fourth?
I mean, is it really like they're not putting up big points though?
They're not really putting up big points, but it's still working for them to get by on the offensive side of the ball and be up 20-3, 20-10. You know. But
That's-
once it gets to the fourth quarter point, we really don't see any field goals coming for them, other than if it's a game-winning field goal by Tucker. That might be the only points in the quarter. Other than that, they really don't score much in the fourth.
That's due to Lamar Jackson not being able to extend drives. But I know I think we just talked about Kenny Drake's longest run was like 70 something yards. Fact check. His longest rushing yards on a rushing attempt was 30 yards. So yes, they did have success running the ball. It's 10 carries, 119 yards, and 1 touchdown, like I just said. This is on Lamar Jackson. It's plain and simple. Josh Allen, if you put him in that position, he's giving you a win. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert,
Okay.
Tom Brady.
Don't put a couple guys in there. Don't put a couple guys in there. Like
This
you
is
can
the second week in a row.
You can go ahead and say Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Tom Brady. That's fine, right? I'm not having you put Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert in there.
Those guys make plays, and that's why I had. That's why I'm
cutting the line. That's why I'm drawing the line. Like you can say those top 3 guys. I'm fine with it.
Maybe even Brady this year. Like Brady, I don't know.
Like I'm fine with Mahomes and Allen for sure. You can go ahead and say that. I'm not having you put those guys in there.
You give those quarterbacks a lead like this, they're coming out with the win. They're not blowing it. They're gonna game manage the game. They're gonna extend the drive.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's not getting that job done.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, if he has Jamar Chase, yeah, sure, of course he's gonna get the job done. Yeah. I mean, you saw the touchdown. He literally threw 10 yards, and Jamar Chase took it to the house. Like, come on, man.
Nah, Lamar Jackson, man. Plain and simple, you got to be better. That MVP campaign you were on a little while ago, you know, it ended when you played the Buffalo Bills, and I said it. And now it's just gone. And yesterday, like I said when I started this segment, yesterday's price, it might just be today's price. The Ravens, they're looking like geniuses right now, especially with these last couple of weeks where Lamar's not really playing up to his level.
That's too far of a statement to me. No, they don't.
It might be. Might be a hot take. I'm calling it as a hot take.
They're not looking like geniuses. They still look dumb. They still look dumb for not.
They still look dumb, but at the same time, they're saving money each and every week with these performances from Lamar Jackson. You're one of the top quarterbacks. In this
like
league,
this is not a stock price. Like it's not, like Lamar Jackson production goes up and his price goes up, and then he takes a nosedive in production. The price goes like come on.
The guaranteed money price goes down for sure. Especially, I mean, he threw 210 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and interception, and of course the fumble. That was this week. And then last week, he had 174 passing yards and a touchdown and an interception. Then the week before that, against Buffalo, 144 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. So he started off hot. He led the league in QBR and passing touchdowns and total touchdowns and stuff like that. And he's cooled off ever since. But enough to talk about Lamar Jackson. This looks embarrassing on him, but I got to give credit to the New York Giants, man. I've been very critical of Daniel Jones and the Giants as a whole organization. So I got to apologize to them, man. Sitting here at 5-1, you know, shocking the world. Nobody expected this for them. Daniel Jones, he's just game managing the game, not turning over the ball. That was one problem that he had, you know, coming into the season, just, you know, ball security and stuff like that. But Saquon Barkley, man, I tipped my hat to him last week. I'm just going to do the same this week. So hell of a win for them, you know, sitting at 5-1. I wouldn't go ahead and call them one of the best teams in the league because, of course, I'm always going to be critical about them. But a playoff berth might be in their future. I'll go ahead and say that. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game, a game where you guys had the loser. The Cincinnati Bengals go into Louisiana, New Orleans, and beat the Saints 30-26. Jamar Chase hitting his gritty walk-off touchdown back home.
I mean, I do want to say I kind of want to applaud the Saints for this performance. I understand they lost, but like considering the amount of injuries and circumstances that they were in, they were leading this game. And of course, you know, Jamar Chase, like he's back to who he is, and monster game from him. But I'm gonna applaud the Saints for this. I really expected, of course, for them to be a little bit healthier this week and to have their guys out there, and it wasn't the case. And even with the circumstances that they were in, they still kept it a close game, and it was a nail biter. And of course, until Jamar Chase got that touchdown that basically sealed the game for them. And I mean, the Bengals they're moving in the right direction. Of course, they lost last week. We understand that, but this was the kind of the game where they needed Jamar Chase to get back on track, and that's exactly what he did. Absolutely monster game, and Joe Burrow did what he was supposed to do. So it's a good one for the Bengals, and of course they're going to be tight with the Ravens, and they're going to go back and forth and who's on top of the division. But it's a good win for them.
I want to say good win, man. They faced the Saints team without their 3 starting receivers, missing Landry, Ole.
I mean, the Saints still got a good defense, though.
They got a great defense, but on the offensive side of the ball, all you have is really Kamara. To let the game really get that close, I don't know. I feel like Cincinnati offense did their job. Jamar Chase got involved back in the game. They won the game. I feel like Burrows had 3 thrown touchdowns or 2. I'm not
3.
Sure. 3. He was involved. He had a running touchdown, right or no?
He did.
He did. He was involved very much in the game. He cooked up this week. This is what they needed. Him and Jamar Chase to connect, to hit on some plays, to let get loose. But the defensive side of the ball, man, I feel like once they face a better team, it's going to be a different story. Like, come on. Team without 3 other starting receivers, like, you should be clamping them. But to let Saints every time touch the ball, march down the field, get into the end zone, kick field goal, score, I don't know about the defense. Last year, the defense kind of carried them late in the season to the playoffs. But this year, to me, this week, it kind of looked bad.
I'm going to go and I'm going to say it's a good win overall for the Cincinnati Bengals. But if I had to assess both sides of the ball, I would say it was a great win for the offense, and it was just very terrible for the defense. They did better in the second half, limiting the Saints to 6 points. But the game they should have never let the Saints score 26 points. And I gave their defense credit in previous weeks, even when they lost. They were doing their job. It was just the offense didn't do their job. But in a week where Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are connecting, it was a homecoming game for them. Basically, that's where they won the national championship. They did their thing. T. Higgins banged up, still had a decent game. The Saints, of course, they have a good defense, so they contained Joe Mixon. The rushing game wasn't really working, but the defense got to be better. You can't let Traquan Smith and Taysom Hill and guys like that, get loose, and Marquez Callaway, like, that's just unacceptable. So, I mean, I'm glad they tightened up in the second half. They gave their offense a puncher's chance, a fighter's chance to get this win, and that's what Joe Burrow did. Hell of a game by him. This is what I've been waiting for all year. He actually made a play with his legs and got a touchdown. So good win for the Bengals, sitting at 3-3 in a very, very tight division. I still think they're going to come out, as division champs, but with the way that this division is going, it could be anybody's game. So I've seen them and the Bengals, them and the Ravens. So good one for the Bengals. We'll go ahead and move on to another upset. The Pittsburgh Steelers at home upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-18. Tom Brady not looking like himself once again, missing a 2-point conversion to Godwin, and Mitch Trubisky led Steelers get a win at home.
Like, of course, we're not gonna sit here and say Tom Brady had a great game. He was very inaccurate, especially when he was targeting Godwin. They feel like they didn't connect well. I think Godwin had maybe like 12 targets and he hit like 6 times, maybe got the ball 6 times. So it felt like him and Brady were not on the same page. Overall, Brady just did not look like himself whatsoever. And the offense has its criticisms, but I really just want to point out the defense. The defense for the Buccaneers in this game, right? In the second half, I think the Steelers had a 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 14, and another 3rd down. And they legit converted all 4 of those. They had multiple 3rd downs and they converted them. They let Mitch Trubisky just drive up the field. And we saw the first touchdown drive from Kenny Pickett before he got a concussion. It was like clockwork for him. And then Mitch Trubisky, same thing as well when he got his touchdown drive. And so, I don't know, is Todd Bowles the man for this job? Is filling Bruce Arians' boots too big for him is my question. Because, of course, we can sit here and say Tom Brady hasn't been himself, but I was watching a compilation of some of the throws that he was making in this game, and he still he was swinging passes, like fitting tight pockets. And it's like, to me, Todd Bowles is the man in question here because the offense does not look like itself at all. And of course, Tom Brady's play is a factor in that. But at the same time, it's like, what are you doing to diversify this offense? And the biggest thing against this offense is the offensive line. Like, the way that they were getting tossed around was just bad. Cameron Hayward, he was having his way with every single one of the offensive linemen. Like it didn't matter who was there. He was just pushing them out the way. And there's like a play where I think Leonard Fournette was trying to get a touchdown in the end zone. The Steelers stopped them, I think, on three drives in the end zone. Like 3 times that they got to the end zone, they stopped them every single time on that. So it's disappointing for the Buccaneers right now, and it might be panic time for them. So yeah.
Nah, for me, the Buccaneers offense is just nasty to me, bro. Tom Brady, 40 times he threw the ball, only had 240 yards, 1 touchdown. Like you said, Chris Godwin and him, 12 targets. They weren't really connected much, but he still caught 6 of them. But they still look off to me. And then Mike Evans not really being involved in the game at all. To me, it just looked very, very rough. But on the Steelers side of the ball, man, like defensively, I feel like Tampa Bay's defense is not like what they used to be. They're getting no pressure to the quarterback. They're not really getting much sacks, and they're letting up big plays on 3rd downs. Like, we ain't seen Claypool at all the first 5 games of this year. And magically, this guy's over here getting 3rd and 15, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 25s, left and right. And
that guy disappeared and he came back.
Bro, that was where's Waldo for 5 weeks, and yesterday just magically appeared to cook the Tampa Bay defense. So even like, the first drive of Kenny Pickett, like they marched down, cooked up and scored. It was immediate. And then Trubisky comes in the game, he does the same thing. So that Tampa Bay defense, Todd Bowles, I feel like Todd Bowles, he's not a good coach. Offense hasn't looked like much, and the defense looks very slow. And for Brady, to me, I don't know if his game's really in the head. Like Friday night, he's over here at Robert Kraft's wedding. And then, he had a game Sunday. Like the whole team already flew out. The whole team's at the hotel, and he's over here at a wedding Friday night. So to me, it's like, come on, get your priorities straight. You got a game in 24 hours. You had a wedding. And then he's over here yelling at the linemen during the game, like, hey, you're over here missing that crucial time to practice, to study film and everything at a wedding while they're over here with the team. So there's a lot going on in Tampa Bay. It might be time to hit panic button, but that offense to me is horrible.
I won't put this loss on their defense. I gotta just put it on Tom Brady. Of course, when he's at his highest, I give him all the praise in the world. But when he's at his lowest, I can't hide and duck. So he just didn't have a good game. He threw for 243 yards and a touchdown, 1 touchdown, only completing 62% of your passes against the Steelers defense that doesn't have TJ Watt. Their secondary isn't really the greatest.
I don't think Nick could play that game either.
Minka didn't play and Cameron Sutton didn't play.
Sure.
Minka didn't play. Cameron Sutton didn't play as well, I think.
I gotta check if Minka did play that game.
I'm almost sure Minka didn't play.
He did not, right?
Yeah. And I think the other top corner didn't play as well.
That's crazy.
Insult to injury, it just adds more to what I was just gonna say. I mean, when you got their best playmakers aren't on the defensive side aren't playing, and you're a heavy favorite coming into this game, and you come in and have a performance like that where there's really no excuse for your offense. Leonard Fournette, he's been eating these last couple of weeks, and he continued that this week. But Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, those are your 2 key guys. Those guys were there before you went ahead and signed Gronkowski and Antonio Brown to your team. Forget about Julio Jones. He's an idea player at this point in his career. He didn't even play yesterday. But Mike Evans, you got to get him the ball. There's nobody on that Steelers defense that can stop him. And Chris Godwin, you just have to – your chemistry with him is already there. You just have to connect with him a lot better. You literally sacrificed your family for this game of football. Like, you're going through a whole divorce, and you wanted to come back for this. So, and I'm predicting these guys to go to the Super Bowl. So this is like looks bad on me because I thought this team would be a lot better, but that's just not the case. And of course, you guys already said everything about their defense not playing up to their standards and the level we're used to seeing them at. But we got to give credit to Mr. Trubisky, man. If there's anybody I got to tip my hat to, it's him for this week. Losing your starting job to the rookie Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett going down, you're getting thrown into the fire once again in a situation where you're going up against Tom Brady. At the end of the day, it's still Tom Brady. In your head, you're thinking about, I'm going up against the GOAT. I got to get a win for my team. And that's exactly what he did. Like Abby said, on multiple third down, his conversion rate was high. He was making plays, extending drives, not giving the ball back to the Buccaneers. So once again, I got to tip my hat to him. Good win for the Steelers. I'm not sure where their season is headed at this point. They'll definitely be below 500. It'll be Mike Tomlin's first season below 500, but overall, this is a hell of a win. This is a crazy upset, especially being, I think, 10-point favorites coming into this week. This is the Buccaneers. I'm not too sure if you hit the panic button. I did say if they lose to the Chiefs, do you hit the panic button? We kind of just said no because it's the Chiefs, but now this is the Steelers. So maybe we should hit the panic button. But
I
Good
mean,
win
it
for
also at the same
Steelers.
time, it's like to see Josh Allen go ahead and do what he did against the Steelers like the week before, and then next week we kind of like we didn't expect that, but we expected like a pretty fair domination by the Buccaneers, and then for that performance to happen, it is scary for them. So
It might be panic time in Tampa. I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. But we'll go ahead and move on to the afternoon games, I believe. Okay, starting off with the Carolina Panthers versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams win this one comfortably, 24-10. The Panthers, man, they're just tanking for that number one pick.
yeah, like at this point, I think it's a reality. Like the Panthers, we already saw that they traded away Robbie Anderson, and who knows if other guys might be on the board as well. They might Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. We don't know with them because this team is just it's not a very good football team at the moment. I mean, you have PJ Walker starting as your quarterback, and so I'm not gonna sit here and act like the Rams were anything like phenomenal in this game. Offensively, nothing stands out. I don't even think Cooper Kupp had a monster game or anything. He had like 80 yards, which is modest for him at this point. Matthew Stafford didn't really like dominate whatsoever. It was more so on the defensive side that they took care of business. So I mean, the Rams are just gonna take what they can get right now. They just look like a mid team to me. They just don't look particularly good. We did have them winning simply on the fact that they're the more talented team. Nothing special about them at the moment. So it's a win for them. I'm not gonna call it good. It's expected for them. So
Yeah, Carolina for sure tanking for that number one pick, man. They brought in PJ Walker. He threw for like I don't know how much yards he threw for before they took him out the game.
it's like 60 yards, right?
60 yards. It was nasty, bro. It was nasty. And then they brought in Jacob Eason. I think he threw for like 79 yards. But one of the passes
59 yards.
59 yards, and one of the passes was a 49-yard pass to CMC. So imagine that. Like, I feel like CMC had all the receiving yards. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm almost 100% sure he
I'm
practiced
100%
at
He had
everything.
89 receiving yards, and the next receiver, which is their tight end Ian Thomas, had 22, and everybody else had less than 10.
Yeah,
DJ Moore, I feel bad for that guy.
that team threw in the white flag. They threw in the white flag. I feel like they're gonna start trading pieces. DJ Moore is gonna be gone soon. I feel like maybe even McCaffrey, and then on the defensive side of the end, like they might even trade Byron Burns to get another top pick. So if they really want to like rebuild, that's the way to go. But the Rams, like I said, they really didn't look too well against this horrible Carolina team. And to me, just like Abdi said, another mid team. I said it early in the season. I feel like this offense is not the same. They just lost I'm pretty sure they lost their left tackle for the rest of the season. I forgot his last name or something. Noah Long Bottom. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It was some weird ass name. I ain't gonna lie, my bad, my dude. But yeah, they lost another left tackle. That old line's horrific now. Horrific. So yeah, good luck to the Rams.
Yeah, not much to say about this one. I'm not gonna sit here and say the Rams. It was a good one for them. They were supposed to beat the Panthers. But fun fact, every pass PJ Walker completed didn't pass the line of scrimmage. So that just goes to show you where
that's the CMC effect, right?
Just
throw it to CMC, just pray he gets 20 yards on it.
CMC was holding his hand in the back. I'm telling you, like, hey, if I'm 5 yards out,
like you saw how he set him up against Jalen Ramsey. He threw it to him. Jalen Ramsey just darted, took out CMC, man. Set him up, man.
It just goes to show how their day went against the Rams. So decent win for the Rams. They did what they're supposed to do. Still didn't look good offensively. They're not hitting on all cylinders. But I guess this is where they're at with this season. You know, this is who they are. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. Big H didn't like this one. The Seattle Seahawks get another win against the Arizona Cardinals, 19-9. The Geno Smith train, man, and it just keeps on going.
Rise, baby. CES rise. Let me go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Let me speak on my team, man. Let me talk about that guy, Kenneth Walker, Michigan State product. You know what I'm saying? MSU, bro. We find like Pete Carroll just finds gems in these running backs. Ever since the start of Marshawn, we got Marshawn, and we go on to Thomas Rawls. Rashad Penny had his couple games, but we see what he could do without being injured. Chris Carson, and now we got Kenneth Walker. I feel like this is going to be our future running back for a couple years now, for the next 5 to 6 years. Like, we found another Marshawn Lynch. I'm very excited about that. Geno Smith, man, game managed the game. We didn't score any touchdowns with him. Did we score a touchdown with him, or we didn't this game? I'm pretty sure we did.
I don't think he did.
No passing touchdowns.
No passing touchdowns. I think Kenneth Walker was the only one that scored for us. But hey, he game managed the game well. He got the ball. Certain third down situations, he advanced it. But let me talk about this defense, man. Our two rookie cornerbacks, Tyreek Woolen and Kobe Bryant. They play fantastic. They play fantastic. But hey, Tyreek Woolen, 4 interceptions. He's tied right now, leads the league among interceptions, 6'4", 4'2", 40. Started playing cornerback 2 years ago. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the game today. So shout out to him. Hopefully defensive rookie of the year. But we came into this game. We stopped the run game. You know what Kyler Murray's about. Hey, I've talked about Kyler Murray every single week. He's not a good quarterback yet. I think 2 or 3 turnovers. I'm not too sure.
1 interception, 1 fumble.
Yeah, 2 turnovers, and it's just him playing erratic. That's what it's due to. Like, you're throwing the ball up. Marquise Brown is 5'10".
Bro, that pissed me off, man.
You're,
I literally have Marquise Brown in fantasy.
Hey, 6'4" cornerback, and you're throwing the ball to a 5'10" receiver. You know how crazy that is? And he was just like, hey,
Wait, y'all can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I have to say that pissed me off because I have Marquise Brown in fantasy, man. I'm watching this play like literally live, right? I'm thinking, okay, what is this guy gonna do? Marquise Brown is 5'10", right? I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give him 5'10", right? Tariq Woolen's like 6'3", 6'4", right? He runs a 4.24, right? Obviously, of course, we know Marquise Brown is fast, right? If you're gonna give him a chance, right, at least throw it like over him, you know, like send him to the end zone. This guy throws it underneath him. So to add insult to injury, he gets picked off, and Marquise is out for 6 weeks.
For the rest of the year.
It's crazy. No.
Bro, you can see Marquise Brown, like, the play's already over. He stopped running. He was like, yo, I'm not getting the ball. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Hey,
and then his foot gets caught under, and it's like
gets caught under a big cornerback like that, and it's dangerous like that. But Tyreek Woolen, Kobe Bryant, man, shout out to our rookie cornerbacks. You know what I'm saying? We got something special building in Seattle. We just got to fix that front seven. Once we fix that front seven, baby, we back. You know, we back.
Nah.
And like I said, I told you guys to pick Seattle this week. Y'all pick Kyler Murray.
No, Kyler Murray, yo kills me. This guy, bro. They did not score a touchdown in the first half. I'm pretty sure. I'm 100% sure they didn't score a touchdown in the first half.
They did not score a touchdown at all.
They didn't score a touchdown all game.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
field goals.
This guy, what can you do with him? Like, it's not even like the COD hasn't even dropped yet, right?
It was double.
Couple weeks now.
It was double XP this week, though. It was
like, bro, it's tough, bro. Right now, Kyler Murray. Of course, they're getting D-Hop pretty soon, but it's like,
is D-Hop gonna fix the problems?
Like, this guy, he's just erratic as a quarterback. I get he picked up 100 yards with his feet, but at the same time, like, no touchdown. It's like, what is the excuse here? Don't forget a fumble. He got the fumble
pieces,
as well.
He got blown to pieces by our linebacker. I forgot his name, bro. Man, I keep on this.
It's Kyler Murray, man. I mean, we said this coming into the season. I'm not a fan of this guy. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback, and week in, week out, I feel like I'm getting proven right. So, it is what it is, man.
9 points, and it came. One of their touchdowns came off a block punt in our own end zone. So it's like, come on, what they really do against us wasn't much. So Arizona got some big problems. Maybe you got to talk about Cliff Kingsbury, see where his situation's at with the play calling on this offense and everything like that. But it all starts off with Kyler Murray for me.
Wow, so they only scored 1 field goal, and their special teams got the touchdown. I forgot about that. I'm just more upset that Marquise Brown got hurt on a meaningless play. The game is pretty much won by the Seahawks, and you don't, like obviously, you don't lead him forward, to try to get a big play, but instead you throw a jump ball against a 6'4" cornerback, and you lose your wide receiver too, who was playing tremendous in D-Hop's absence. I know Rondale Moore, he's next up in this rotation, but losing a guy like Marquise Brown is going to hurt. So I'm very upset as a fantasy owner, but even just a fan of football. Why put your guy in a position like that, knowing that he's going up against a 6'4" corner and he's 5'10" on a good day? But I got to give credit to Geno Smith. I've been very critical of him, and I thought he was going to come back down to earth. And I mean, I wouldn't say he had a bad game. He just did what he was supposed to do. He relied heavily on Kenneth Walker in the run game, which was very successful. 21 rushes, 97 yards, and a touchdown. And then Geno Smith, he just carried the rest of the way. 197 passing yards, no touchdown, but game managing the game and getting third down conversions and being very successful, being very secure with the football and giving this team a win. So, what we've seen from Geno Smith in these past weeks where he's, their offense is high flying with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He's shown us another way he can win by just being a game manager. So I got to tip my hat to him. And Seattle Seahawks, man, they're sitting at 3-3 right now. Big H, correct me if I'm wrong.
3-3, baby.
3-3 in a very, very tight division. The Niners are banged up and the Rams aren't looking too good.
It was crazy. Like, you guys legit could have been like,
division.
You guys
I'm not
could.
gonna lie. You could have been 5-1. You could have been 5-1.
You guys
I'm
could
not
have been
gonna lie.
5-1.
Really could have been 5-1. And I feel like we can beat the Chargers next week, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Five
You know what's
one.
crazy? Like
Where's
I
the
know,
2 wins coming from?
and I know if I pick you guys too.
You look at the Atlanta and Saints game, right?
Atlanta and the Saints. Okay,
Yeah,
you're right.
we could have won
okay.
those 2 games. It was very, very close, but
Yeah,
our run game, we just got abused running wise. So, what were you gonna say, Abdi?
Nah, I was gonna say like, I know if I pick you guys against the Chargers, the Chargers are gonna win and it's gonna bite me. See what I mean? Like, I've been picking you against you guys this entire season.
Hey, like I said, Chargers haven't looked too well. Geno's looking fantastic. That defense has not looked too well, and that O-line is ready to be feasted on. So
we'll go ahead and get to the Chargers in a little bit. But let's go ahead and move on to, I guess we're gonna call it America's Game of the Week, right? Actually, we are calling it America's Game of the Week. The Buffalo Bills go into Arrowhead. Josh Allen once again in the regular season beats Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs 24-20. Game-winning drive led by him. Dawson Knox touchdown, Patrick Mahomes pick to seal the game. The Buffalo Bills, man, they're a serious team.
I mean, Josh Allen took care of business, man. I think 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. I want to say no turnovers. I mean, he did exactly what he was supposed to. Like, I feel like when he sees Patrick Mahomes on the same field, like, he has a point to prove, and that's exactly what he did. I mentioned this coming into this week. That's why I picked him. I felt like he just had it just felt like there was a little bit more motivation on his side, and it's surprising that the Chiefs were the underdogs in this one. But I mean, Josh Allen, we're not gonna sit here and say Mahomes had a good game. Like, I feel like we have to hold Mahomes accountable. Like, I get the second pick may have been closer to meaningless, but not at the same time because they needed that. But at the same time, the first pick was huge, and Josh Allen, 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, the guy was surgical. And we saw the amazing hurdle and then the touchdown to Dawson Knox. I mean, every week this guy he's a highlight reel. So, I mean, the Bills are a team to mess with. Them and the Eagles, they're scary, man. So it's a good win for the Buffalo.
I said Mahomes was gonna be MVP last week, right?
You've been saying that for 5 weeks now, going into 6.
Week 6. That fucking Josh Allen proved me wrong. I ain't gonna hey, damn it to Arrowhead. Hey, kill my host, man. He proved me wrong, man. Bro, hey, first drive of the game, he's marching down the field, and then he had a stupid turnover. And I was like, okay, hey, we in it now. We be good, you know what I'm saying? Good. And I see Mahomes' first pick, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like, that type of play, like, you're 2 yards out of bounds, just run out of bounds. You need to force it, take the 3, keep it pushing. And then throughout the game, I felt like other than Juju and Kelsey, really, Kelsey, I feel like the offense was slow for the Chiefs. Like, they didn't involve the run game much. I feel like Pacheco had a couple big games, but other than that, Edwards and McKinnon, we really didn't see much involved in the game. So, Josh Allen came in and just every time he touched the ball, it was a march. It was a march. And the guy's scary, man. And he reminds me of the Night King in Game of Thrones. He keeps on coming, and you can't stop him. It's just like, what the hell? Defenses are gonna have problems with this guy. And the funny thing is, like, their defense is not even healthy. They're still missing the top 5 corner in the game, Tre'Davious White, and they're still playing like this. So it's a scary sight for the Bills, man. I feel like they're head and shoulders above teams right now. They proved it to me. I'm gonna give them the respects. I'm gonna pay their respects. But yeah,
I've been trying to tell you guys for 5 weeks now that Josh Allen is our front runner, league MVP. And what did he do? He went out there on Sunday and proved me right again. Patrick Mahomes, he costed me a fantasy win, so I got nothing nice to say about him today. 2 interceptions. I lost 4 points off that, and I really needed a touchdown in that last drive, and he didn't get it from me. I lost by 4 points. So
I lost by 4 points too. So yeah, I know how you feel.
Right? He costed us a fantasy win this week. But one thing I want to highlight in our predictions episode last week, I did say the Buffalo Bills defense will do a lot. They'll do a better job this time around against Kansas City because they're not going up against a guy like Tyreek Hill anymore. They're going up against guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS, Mecole Hardman, and of course Travis Kelce. So there's no true threat over the top like from Tyreek Hill, and of course Kelce's going to be Kelce. You can't stop him. That's the best tight end in football. So they did a good enough job to containing him. I know he had over 100 yards.
I think Juju had a pretty good game himself, right?
I watched the entire game. It didn't really look like it. It didn't look like it.
It to me is like, hey, it was like let Kelce eat, and then everybody else is whatever. Although Juju did have a good day, but he was breaking off an 8.
I think Juju had a good game, right? Like 100
Yeah.
100 plus yards, right?
Yeah, Juju finished with 5 catches, 113 yards. A lot of his catches
it was a lot of yards after catch.
Where he broke off and for 42-yard touchdown and stuff like that. So
big games for him, but I don't know. It was like Kelsey. Kelsey's gonna get 108 catches, 9 catches. You know what Kelsey does, but everybody else, some players got to step up. I feel like Mahomes, that first interception, to me is just
stupid.
You can't do that. You really can't do that.
Gotta call it how I see it. It's definitely a
very,
stupid
very stupid interception. Like 3 players in the end zone, usually go, hey, whatever, MVS, go up. And we know MVS is not a big claw, like, go for that type of ball. He doesn't get up for that. So to see him throw that ball up like that, horrible.
But their run game was non-existent. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he slowed down this week. I think he slowed down last week as well. But enough about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, because I didn't have them winning. Because the guy that I'm about to talk about right now, my front runner for the MVP award, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I told you guys last week and the week before that, this guy is resilient as ever. He can turn over the ball early on in the game, but it doesn't affect his play as the course of the game goes on. He had a little cheap fumble where he tried to shovel it forward to his running back Devin Singletary and fumble in the red zone and costed them some points. But once again, he just keeps showing you that he's not going to let one play dictate the entire game. And he just kept coming back. He got his guys Diggs and Gabe Davis involved. Those 2 guys ended up with scoring touchdowns. In our predictions episode, once again, I said this Chiefs defense, I mean, they're not a terrible defense. They're not the greatest defense. Devontae Adams had a hell of a week last week against them. And I said guys like Diggs and Gabe Davis can have great days against them too. And I said they're going to go over 100 yards. Gabe Davis finished with 76 yards and a touchdown. And I did say Diggs was going to get over 100 and a touchdown. That's exactly what he did. But once again, hell of a win for the Bills. Josh Allen, my MVP, once again shows that he's the best quarterback in this league. We got to put respect on his name. I told you guys in our group chat, I don't want you guys coming on here talking about Mahomes being the front runner anymore. It's not close. It's not close. I told you this game was going to decide it, just how the game against Lamar was going to decide it. And once again, he proves me right. So good win for the Bills. They're the favorites, and it's looking like a playoff game, a conference championship game is going through Buffalo like I predicted. So they're on the right track, man. They're one of the best teams in the NFL right now, right there with the Eagles. So
teams got to see the Night King, man. I'm scared of this guy. I ain't gonna lie to you. This guy,
the Night King is crazy, man.
And we gonna start calling him that. Like it's cold where he from. It's cold.
I mean, still though, like as long as you have Patrick Mahomes there, though, it's a scary sight. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know, man. It didn't look too good.
Like I said, but they're missing Tyreek. Now this Bills team, we're seeing it. They're stacked on offense and on the defensive side of the ball. Once everybody gets healthy, bro, it's gonna be a scary sight. It is gonna be scary on the defensive side of the end, and that's where they're really polished at. Like they got some star players on that side.
Yeah, before we move on from this game, I do want to shout out their defense. Von Miller, hell of a job getting to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, he played great.
I feel like we're sleeping on this defense a lot. Very.
I think it's just you because you said their defense was banged up and you picked the Chiefs. So maybe you, but
they don't say, but
not
Mahomes
me.
Mahomes is playing, man. Double down on him. You feel me? I can't switch up.
Yeah, this game was pretty much a coin flip. It was a good, entertaining game all around. But once again, the Bills get a win here, sitting at 5-1. And, the MVP train keeps on moving forward through Arrowhead and on to the next week. But we'll go ahead and move on to our Sunday night football game. The Dallas Cowboys lose to the Philadelphia Eagles 26-17. The Cooper Rush show has now come to an end.
Told you, man, that Cooper Rush gimmick was done. Told you it had to end. I mean, the Eagles straight up just came out and just punched them in the mouth. And of course, we talked about this early in the season. Like they have this tendency in the second half to kind of just drop off. And of course it happened, but it just felt like that the Cowboys just couldn't get near them. That offensive line is just fake, man. It's literally fake. The offensive line just holds up. It's like whenever I watch the Eagles, it feels like they can just get anything at any moment. It doesn't matter. That's how good their offensive line is. Miles Sanders, he got 71 yards and a touchdown, I believe. It doesn't matter with this team. Jalen Hurts, he'll have a clean pocket, and of course, AJ Brown got involved and he got his touchdown. And Devontae Smith, nice wide receiver tandem right there. And I'm gonna just keep saying it. They're the best team in the NFC, and they're the team to beat right now. And the Cowboys, I get at the same time, Cooper Rush, like he was serviceable, but like he got gassed up way too much, man. The gas got to his head. Like he played a real team, and this is who Cooper Rush is. So of course they need Dak to come back, and maybe if Dak was in this game, we'd be talking about it differently. But we can't do hypotheticals. The Eagles did their job. They dominated in the first half. Second half dropped off, but they did what they were supposed to and closed out the game. So a good win.
Game was 20-17 at a point in time, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
It was 20-0 at halftime, right?
Correct.
I'm seeing this Eagles and giving up second half. Their offense only scored 6 points. The defense gave up 17 points against Cooper Rush in the second half of this game. So I feel like they came out swung hard.
Zeke was kind of looking good though. I can't lie. I gotta give him that.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. When he gets his touches, he gets his yards. He plays good. Like if you look at each game, his yards.
He looked fast. He looked fast.
Average per average. He was looking good. They fed him the ball. They were doing good, but I feel like it's just the Cooper Rush factor. Late game, 20-17. He throws, I think, 2 picks back-to-back drives.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
2 picks back-to-back drives, and that just it shut it down. I don't know. They're kind of marching down the field on one of them. It was just a horrible throw to CeeDee Lamb, and Eagles, I respect it. They grinded out the game. They gave up 17 points third and fourth quarter, but the last couple of drives they held it up on the defensive side of the ball. Hurts got a touchdown to Smith in the end of the game as well to seal the deal. So the Eagles sitting at 6-0.
6-0, man. They haven't
6-0,
lost
man.
yet.
Looking
Only
like-
undefeated
looking-
team left.
Looking like one of the best teams in the league, right alongside the Bills. So looking good for them. We'll see what happens.
Overall, good win for the Eagles. But I do got to, of course, point out it once again that there's lack of points in the second half is very questionable. If Cooper Rush doesn't go down 20-0, we're maybe talking about this game very differently. But I'm not going to sit here and say if Dak was playing, the game would have changed. But his decision making is probably going to be a lot better than Cooper Rush in certain situations in the second half and fourth quarter specifically. But Eagles overall, man. I mean, I played them in week 2 and on Monday night, and they embarrassed my team. And it goes back to these 3 things: their defense, their offensive line, and their play calling. You go on offense, RPO. You have playmakers all around: Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. The run game with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. The offensive line giving Jalen Hurts all the time in the world to make plays. Like, it's going to be pretty hard to beat this team when you pair that with their defense. So overall, it's a good one for the Eagles, man. Sitting at 6-0, they're the team to beat in the NFC, team to beat in the whole NFL, right there with the Bills. But the Cowboys, sitting at 4-2, you can't really be too down on yourself. You got your quarterback coming back this week. Cooper Rush did all he could. And now they got an easy game next week. I think it's at home against the Detroit Lions. I mean, Lions are going to give you a fight. I'll say that. I won't say it's an easy one, but it's a game where they can, it's a get right game for them. They can, come back home and get right, get a win at home with Dak Prescott coming back and be sitting at 5-2 next week. We can be having a different conversation about them. So good win for the Eagles, but we'll go ahead and move on to our Monday night showdown between the LA Chargers and the Broncos. Really wasn't, I guess we could say it was an interesting game because it went to overtime. But the Chargers won this game 19-16, walk-off field goal by an injured Dustin Hopkins, who was kicking on basically torn on one leg. His kicking leg was injured. Walk-off field goal. I got to give him credit. So,
I mean, we can go ahead and say this: the NFL is a cooked product right now. Right now, the NFL just offenses just do not look good right now. Like, none of these primetime games have been anything of like, wow, I haven't felt like I've watched a game this year and been like, wow, that was just an amazing game that I watched, right? It's just like NFL offenses just slow this year. I mean, we see it from the Packers, the Buccaneers.
Couple Seattle games been.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie to you. If you tuned in,
of course, yeah, like you have your games here and there, but the Chargers and Broncos and every Broncos game so far this season, it's just like the NFL right now, like. They gave Jeff Bezos needs to get a refund. They gave him the worst games. We expected some amazing Thursday night games and they've been terrible. And the primetime games on Mondays just have not been good. Of course, that's a product of the Broncos, but the NFL is not a good watch right now. The NFL offenses, they don't look explosive. It's like everything is just like a bend and don't break defense. That's literally the philosophy of the NFL right now. Teams are not giving up big plays like that. But going to this game, I mean, Russell Wilson, second half, 15 yards, no touchdown. That's that's just ridiculous. I can't even like wrap my head around that. 15 yards and no touchdown. And we expected, of course, after that drive where it looked like things were gonna look well for them. They're gonna get better as this game goes on, and nothing changed. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that clip of Jerry Jeudy and Melvin Gordon talking like towards the end of the game.
I did see that.
These guys are pissed.
Visibly frustrated.
They're frustrated. And it's just like, again, Big H talked about this.
Melvin Gordon last week.
He's staring down Russell Wilson, and it's just like, it starts with what you said, Big H. Nathaniel Hackett, man, you gotta go. You gotta go. And Russell Wilson, cooked product.
Cooked product. That arm is dead. I'm telling you, the arm's dead. It's gone. It's not there no more.
Like,
it's not.
I know we could talk about Jerry Jeudy and his drops and whatnot, but it's like, well, okay, fine. Take Jerry Jeudy out. What about Courtland Sutton? Like, is he not part of this offense now? You know?
Where was that guy today?
Lord knows.
He did enough to get me a fantasy when I'll say that. 2 catches, 15 yards. That's all I needed.
You see what I mean? Like, what is this?
Yo,
this is like...
it was bad to continue. It was bad.
This is what I'm saying. I'm going to stop watching these games. Like, if I see Broncos on primetime again this season, I'm done. Like, somebody said they need to be on ESPN Deportes. Like, that's where they need to be on. But, I mean, the Chargers, like it was like the offensive line were just getting wrecked. And that's another thing that I want to point out this season. Is it just me, or like NFL offensive lines are just garbage this season? Like,
I feel like teams are starting to head more in the direction of getting stacked skill positions and just letting the O-line.
Like, what is going on with the NFL offensive lines this season? Like, they've just been getting ransacked. And of course, injuries always happen to offensive line, but it's just like they're just getting run down. So, I mean, the Chargers, Justin Herbert, like, I get he felt like he was under pressure a lot this game, but at the same time, it's like the Broncos could have won this game. If that mistake doesn't happen on the return, they could have potentially won this game, but it's a good win. Dustin Hopkins sending them home, so it's what they needed, man.
Let me speak about this guy, Herbert, man. A lot of people, claim him fantastic quarterback, top 5 here and there, and, top nothing on his resume. Today, threw the ball 57 times, 230 yards, 1 interception, no touchdowns. And he's the first quarterback to throw the ball more than 50 times without a touchdown ever in the NFL career.
Wait, is that real?
That's real. That's real. Check it up.
That's a crazy stat.
What was the stat again?
It was the first quarterback to throw the ball more than 50 times without throwing a touchdown.
Wow.
He threw the ball 57 times tonight without a touchdown.
Yeah, his arm is cooked.
Imagine you throw the ball 57 times in a game, right? And you paid Mike Williams $80 million, right? And he only gets 2 targets in a game.
I ain't gonna lie though, Surtain was all over that man.
I don't care. I'm paying this man $80 million. At
least give him a chance,
He better get 12
right?
targets in a game. Huh? There's no chance he gets 2 targets in a game. It's crazy.
Just got to give him a chance. I hear you.
It's wild. And to me, even though they beat the Broncos, this offensive line to me looks horrendous. Of course, I'm talking about Herbert throwing the ball 57 times, but a lot of throws were in a hurry, a lot of throws out of the pocket, a lot of throws him getting out of the pocket, just scrambling, throwing it away. But this offensive line is they're on their 3rd string center, and I think today was his first ever NFL career snap. And the only time he ever snapped the ball, right, was it on the practice team on a kick on the kickoff squad. That's it. A punt return squad, whatever.
And you get thrown into a primetime game on a Monday.
And you get thrown into a primetime Monday night game with your star quarterback in a divisional rival, man. It's crazy. They're missing so many pieces on the offensive side that it's like either they got to get.
He really misses Keenan Allen.
Really misses Keenan Allen. Like we talked about Keenan Allen. For me, I really do believe he's a top 10 receiver. I feel like he's a security blanket. I feel like it's one of the guys that's a premier route running receiver. Like he really works with his route running and he gets open easy. So Herbert not having that, and it really affects him a lot. So for the Broncos, Wilson, your arm's cooked. Daniel Hackett, your days are long and gone, man. I know this is your second time coaching stint.
I believe so.
You told me.
Might be his first time. I know he was assistant.
Ever in my life.
He was assistant coach for us, but
right now, Oak Grove, man, my little brother's high school team right now, they're 1-6. They need a head coach. Come down to support them. Come down to coach them. Like this Broncos team is done. Everybody's looking at it. The receivers are mad. The offensive line's trash. Melvin Gordon's heated. Like people see it. Like this defense can really keep them in the game.
Yeah, I feel bad for the defense, if anything. Really like they're trying their hardest, man.
They're like, Chubb and Surtain, they're playing their asses off, and they're not getting no end result from Russell Wilson. And they paid this guy $245 million. Like, I had my problems with this guy in Seattle, and right now a lot of people are realizing, like, yo, Seattle really blanketed this from a lot of teams and kept him in the circle and really hid his horrible like his tendencies. Like it's really bad. Like you can compare to Kyler Murray right now. They're both in the same bucket.
One just can't run. That's
One
problem.
just can't run. Wilson just can't run. That's what it is. So Judy and Sutton, I feel like they're not premier receivers, but at the same time, it's like they do their job. Wilson can't really get them the ball. I feel like Judy had a good game today, but other than that, the first half there was no catches for anybody on the offensive side of the ball. It was pretty nasty. Like I think he had like 3 catches, 77 yards, if I'm not too sure.
3
Probably,
catches,
I believe so.
54 yards.
54
And he had the big,
Longest
and that's the thing. It was that big
big play
reception,
was
and
Yeah,
that's
the
37
big play.
yards.
Yeah. I made a couple bets with a couple Raider fans. I'm gonna lose some money to them. I'm pretty sure. Although Broncos got a better record, I'm predicting it. They're gonna end the season worse than the Raiders. So, yeah, Russell Wilson. I'm happy off my team, man. I got Geno Smith. I'm pretty happy. way to
that's
end
a
Monday
crazy
Night.
statement.
That's a crazy statement to say
Hey.
here in week 6 of the NFL season.
We
man.
saved 245 million. We got rid of the trash guy, and we're 3-3 right now. Like, come on now, ain't nothing. We were tied for number 1 in our division. Ain't nothing better than that, man. I'm not too mad.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You got a better record than them right now.
Yeah, come on now.
I'm very disappointed in the Broncos, but I can't really say nothing. I guess I can't say I didn't expect it because I did say they were going to be the biggest disappointment this year. So in a sense where I know I lost a point tonight, but at the same time, once again, week in and week out, I keep getting proven right. And I sound like a broken radio when I say this. But I want to talk about this guy, Montreal Washington. He's the guy that fumbled the ball. He should no longer be on the team after that. Cut him, send him back to McDonald's, wherever he came from, back to
At the
H&M.
same time as though the player that
Ain't gonna lie, he did
he
get
kind
pushed
of got
into
hit though. He kind of got pushed into him. This guy's kind of tough like that. I don't know.
Yeah, him and his teammate.
Yeah, it's
both,
like-
both those guys can go out
Yeah,
the door
kill,
at night.
kill both of them.
Yeah,
cut both of
those
them,
guys, man. Go work at McDonald's, go work at H&M or something at Macy's.
Get out the way, man. Like he got bullied into block, like hitting his own teammate. Like, come
Like,
on now.
Like go get a different job.
I
'Cause
feel
football's
bad
not
for.
it.
I feel bad more for the returner than because the other guy just got pushed into.
Like,
And
he
there
got
gotta be a
pushed
rule.
into him. And like,
There gotta be a rule in the NFL to change that. To be honest, like, hey,
no, but the thing is, the reason why it wasn't like a flag on the Chargers is because the return Montreal Washington, whatever his name is,
he touched the
he
ball.
touched his teammate first. So if you touch your teammate
Okay,
first,
okay.
it's not going to be a flag on the
Man,
team.
that's just a horrible way to end a long night like that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'd be heated,
Horrible.
man.
So horrible way, like you kind of thug it out. You finally get the ball back and you're hoping to march down the field, and it's just like, damn.
At
just
least
like
like
that.
he
I mean,
took some
I
time
mean,
to
let's
get
be
a
honest.
chance.
It's not like
No,
he
no, no.
would. It's not like he would have marched up the field. Though.
Yeah, I wouldn't say march down the field, but like
They had
the
20
way
they
the defense was playing, like let's say the Broncos got a 3 and out, or the Chargers got 3 and out, maybe the game ends up in a
Bro,
tie.
if
Who
I'm the
knows,
Broncos,
right?
if I'm the Broncos at that time, I'm satisfied with a tie.
Yeah,
If I can walk out with a tie, I'll be happy. Like it's hey, Monday night over with. I got a tie. Let's go home, man.
But overall, man, the reason why I picked this team to win this week was because I just really thought Russell Wilson was going to turn it around. And the very first couple of drives, they got a field goal, and then they got that wide open touchdown pass to the 4th string tight end that they just called up to play. And I thought things were looking good for them, but I guess reality hit me and the Broncos right in the face and who they are as a team. So good. I wouldn't even call this a good one for the Chargers. I don't view them. I know I had them winning their division, but I don't think that'll happen now. I think the Chiefs probably going to win this division pretty comfortably. They're just not the team that I thought they were going to be this year. Justin Herbert, I don't know, man. Even with the Broncos defense playing great, not getting your main guys Mike Will involved, at least give him a chance. Mike Will is a jump ball specialist. He can get you a play here and there. And he tried it one time towards the end of the game. I think it was in the 4th quarter or overtime. He gave him a chance, but Mike Will almost got it in. His left foot literally was just touching the line. So it was like right there.
Barely. And I think I would have won fantasy with that catch. I ain't gonna lie too.
Yeah, see, like it was right there. Mike was capable of making big plays. But Justin Herbert just didn't give him a chance. He just kept taking everything short with Eckler and Everett and DeAndre Carter. But the Broncos, man, it's going to be a long season for them. I'm glad that we're not going to have to see them on primetime for maybe 6-7 weeks. The next time they're on primetime, I checked, is against Kansas City, and that won't look good at all. So, but taking 6 weeks off on primetime, seeing the Broncos, I'll take it. I can't ask for anything more than that. I think they got a London game a couple weeks from now. I'm not waking up for that. I hope you guys aren't waking up for that, because that's not going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, I'll be at work, man. I'll probably watch it. Who they play in London?
Let me go ahead and check that right now. I want to say, let's check. They play The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wow.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know none of us are waking up for that one.
No, I know.
Especially with the way the Jaguars have been playing these last couple of weeks.
No.
We know who the Broncos are as a team.
Hell,
It's just nobody's waking up for that. But the Chargers, they got to win. They escaped with a win at home. Shout out to their kicker for playing on a bum leg and still drilling every 30-yard field goal for them. And so they're just getting the wins, man. But they got to be better as a team overall. They're getting Keenan Allen back next week in Seattle. So I really want to see what this offense is capable of because Austin Eckler has been playing great. Now you throw in Keenan Allen in the mix. Who knows what their offense can look like? Their defense. This is what we thought their defense was supposed to be coming into the year, But this is the Broncos once again, so you can't really be too high or too low on them. But that pretty much wraps up Week 6. And I'll go ahead and talk about our records, our personal records, keeping track once again. Pretty quick and easy. We all finished with a 6-8 record. The quality of football this week was terrible, like we mentioned. It wasn't the greatest. A lot of games where we picked the favorites didn't go our way. Games like the Packers, the Ravens, Buccaneers, the list goes on and on. The Niners as well. But our totals for this week, Abdi still in the lead, 53, 41-1. I'm right behind them, 6 games behind, 47, 47-1. And BH, 43, 51-1. So looking forward to another week of football, but I really thought I was going to close the gap a little bit. But the quality of football was just so terrible, and I couldn't.
It was a tough week, man. Upset Sunday, man.
Yeah, this is probably the craziest week of football we're probably going to get all year. And it's only Week 6, so it's crazy to think about.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now late, now that's overkill.